the good, the bad, the ugly. And this week we have Mountain Dew, Catfish, and the truth, maybe. Our first article: a 35-year-old woman killed her 79-year-old roommate with a knife, stabbed her to death.
Mm.
They did not yet know that she was the person who did it. So when they came to investigate, before they got there, she thought if she doused herself with Mountain Dew, she could get rid of the DNA evidence. So again, if she doused herself with Mountain Dew, she could get rid of the DNA evidence. Shake,
See,
what's your
I
take?
blame George Bush. 2004, right? He enacted the No Child Left Behind, right? And like he stunted us.
Nah.
And then I blame Obama in 2011. He removed No Child Left Behind. There's a lot of children who should have been left behind, right? So there's a lot of people I blame, and I blame Florida for the open press laws. We shouldn't know that
You
there's
should not
that,
know this story.
that's level of just stupidity in this world, right? That stupidity potentially, thank God the cops got her. I'm pro cop in this, right? So she can't breathe to pass down that level of stupidity. They're thinking Mountain Dew, which kills a lot of shit, right? But it's going to kill the DNA evidence on you. Now how mad I'd be as a cop. I got to arrest you and you sticky and tacky. Ass whooping right there.
And you just assumed she was from Florida. Because she is. But you just assumed she was from Florida.
Where else do stories like this come from?
Yeah, where else would this story come from? Like, is the thing that I also want like people to understand here is like this lady's idea of how this works was has been harboring in her for a long time. At least at some point, she saw the meme, which is that if you put a rat inside of a like a Coke or a Diet something, it'll disintegrate the rat, and they had to pay a lawsuit out for that. She's seen that before, and this was compounded on the fact that she knows that whenever she drinks too much too fast, it burns the back of her throat. So maybe it does work. But then no point did she ever think about like, wait a minute, what is that stuff doing to the inside of me? So, like, for all it's worth, I'll say this. Yo, if you ever have to throw a soda on somebody and you don't want to be sticky, use the diet one, stick-free. And the ICP, the Insane Clown Posse, they figured it out because they use the Faygo drinks. Those little Faygo drinks, and they don't stick on the floor, and venues love it because they can just sprinkle it out. But, you know, this is just... Who am I kidding? This lady's never gonna see this. She's never gonna see the light of day. She's done for.
First of all,
what am I giving advice for?
Again, how are you 20-something and have a 79-year-old roommate, right? And that's not related to
Hey, that's
you.
inflation,
That makes no
man.
sense.
No, that's inflation. That makes perfect sense.
Okay.
So you blaming inflation? You
blaming inflation for this.
And the roommate is 79.
Yeah. Hey, you know what a 79-year-old doesn't have? Any more debts. She's getting a steady check from the government.
At least you hope they don't got debt.
Hey,
if you're 79 and you need a 35-year-old roommate who ends up killing you, you probably had debt. You probably had a lot of debt.
So again, y'all need to answer the question, please. Good, bad, or ugly?
Ugly, horrific. Yeah. Like, this is absurd. That's an easy question. Next topic. Yeah. I thought we did with the way we were talking about it. It's absurd.
Hey, man, I don't assume. Okay.
True, it's 2023. You can't assume nothing.
A fan of the show Stranger Things left her husband for Catfish. She thought her Catfish was the star of the show Stranger Things. I can't pronounce his name. Mr. Montgomery.
Oh.
So they had been messaging for about a year, and he told her that his girlfriend, who was also an actress, was very controlling, and that he was just ready to split with her, but he just didn't know how to do it. So he eventually asked this young lady to be his new girlfriend, but said, don't tell anybody because I don't want my girlfriend to find out.
Look. I got you. I got you on this. As a Nigerian prince and a famous scammer, a son of a famous scammer for many of years, I have taken great pride stealing many a dollars from my young princes and princesses from Nigeria. So, like, the thing that is going to have to become very important in our near future is internet and social literacy, because scam artists are evolving And not only can you get the voice actor's voice to then say the words for you, you can then create their face for a FaceTime call. These people are good. So if you don't have this already, let this be an example to you. But this is pure gullibility. It's clear that no one loves this person. They don't keep in contact. They're on the internet way too much, and they're not accounting for. But if you don't have a safe word with your parents or family members, you could find yourself in a rare situation where you're getting called from a jail cell saying, "I need bail money to send it here," and they just hang up, and you send the money. You call them and they say, "No, I'm fine. I'm at home," and it's already too late. So this is all about literacy, and this is an example of what happens when you don't go outside and touch grass.
All right. So again, thank you, Hero, for educating us. I gotta say something. So I'm looking at this article, right? And this Darce, Mr. Montgomery, pause, handsome gentleman. I'm looking at the person. I'm looking at the person who thought it was. I'm looking at her, right? First of all, that should have been your first warning, right? Why is he, right?
People not humble. People not humble. They don't think that. They don't know.
And then, right? Remember, you know him from Stranger Things. You think he ain't getting no money from Stranger Things? Why are you giving him money? First of all, you was married. She's married. So somebody thought it was good enough to marry you in the first place. Stick with what you had. That's what happens when people have aspirations that are too high, right? Mm-hmm. You were a small fish in a small pond and you wanted to swim with the sharks, right? Yeah. You don't belong there. She has no business. None. I don't feel bad for her whatsoever. She deserved it, right? Like, come on. No.
Okay.
You think a celebrity is going to pick some you random fan online? Goofy.
So to get the $10,000 out of her, he told her that his girlfriend controlled his money and she wouldn't let him have any. So she sent him the $10,000. And then he told her, "I need you to prove that you're real to me. Break up with your husband," at which she did.
Well, at this point, that dude's just a really good troll, right? He's got money, so like, why not? I respect the troll, the catfish. As someone who likes to troll online, I respect that, right? At first, it was just a scam, but he's like, "Yo, this lady's an idiot. What else can I get her to do?" Right? So can I get you to break up with your husband because you clearly don't realize? Because it was probably just 10,000 was probably the total amount, but she probably sent her time, so much other stuff to him, and he's like, "Yo, this person really doesn't understand." Like, she's literally seeing him walk up and down the red carpet and thinking like, "Oh, I'm quietly his girlfriend." Like, so no, with good, bad, and ugly, it's goofy. That's what this is. It's goofy.
Yeah, this is like completely like inner stupidity. Like the level, like, how important of yourself do you think you are? Like, man, I miss the days where I could scam them on emails. Fuck this shit.
Wow. Okay.
And now they got all these YouTube channels that are scam baiting and
they
out all the scammers,
giving up the secrets,
giving out all the exactly. The game
I have
sold,
zero respect for anybody. Those magicians too. Like I wanted to know how the fucking scarf went through the dude's hand, but all these people ruining these jokes and all these sleight of hand cards, slowing it down, showing us how it's done. You guys are the worst thing that ever happened to the internet.
All right, last one for good, bad, ugly. An elementary school is under fire for telling black students, if you don't get your grades up, you could be killed or in jail. So the faculty took out all the black students from the school because they noticed that the test scores were going down for 3 years in a row. So they got all the black kids out and took them to the cafeteria and decided to have a nice little talk with them, letting them know that if they don't get the grades up, they would probably end up in jail or killed. I have absolutely no problem with this. I think it's what you should do. Further in the article, it also says they tried to bribe the kids with candy to get better grades. Look, at some point, someone has to tell you the truth.
Wait. No, are you saying that, or did the article say that? I want you to be very clear, so when I start yelling in a second, know that I'm yelling correctly.
So your parents never told you, hey, if you go down the wrong route, you're gonna either be be dead or in jail. Never told you that.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
There's no situation where you should ever be wavering the life of a child over their head because they made mistakes. And like you're
Disagree.
talking. I mean, you can disagree for all you want, but I'm here to tell you you're only setting that kid up for failure by putting the weight of the world on their shoulder when it simply needs to be something about you. Because if you are mad enough to say this to someone's child without the permission of the parent or having the parent there, that means you never had the child's best interest in heart anyway. I guarantee you, if you look at their test results and look at the overall schematics and what they're giving to these students, is nowhere near the center of the bow. We have to stop with this whole, there's nowhere in the world where aggression is needed to raise a child. There can be sternness, there can be respect, but waiving the life and death scenarios of today's culture, especially given America's best chance, we already know that they're at a disadvantage. Why would you put that in their back pocket? You think they don't know that? Being segregated from their other classmates and talked to without the protection of their parents, you don't think they realize that they are a disadvantage? You're the fucking disadvantage they have. They're stuck with you, and you know this, and you don't want to bear the consequence of saying you're a bad teacher. It has to be the students, right? No one gives a fuck about the kids.
Shake.
So I'm gonna take 2 points on this, right? First of all, and I'm gonna pull out the prop mic for this because I gotta get serious about y'all, right? It's
Oh
not
God.
it's not the job of the faculty to tell Black students what the reality is. It's not the job of the teachers. Your job is to teach, right? And barely decently at that, right? You don't got to teach well. I pay you with my tax dollars to just teach, right? That's incumbent upon the families of these students to let them know that yes. And Twitch, you said something in the chat that I'm going to address. Yes, bad grades doesn't directly put you in jail, but there is a clear indicator that having consistently poor grades means poor reading, which leads to worse life decisions, which guess what leads to jail and or death. There's a straight up pipeline for kids who read below their reading and math level. Secondly, this is where I'm saying it's going to be messed up what I say. I understand why the faculty did what they did. They isolated the students that was fucking up their test scores. And they're like, yo, they probably retested the rest of those kids and say, hey, now test us, right? Right? Because they even tried. They're like, yo, what do you kids want to do to be better? Because they don't want to lose their job because the parents aren't doing their job, right? Parents aren't reading to their kids at
So
home. There's so much that goes on into education that people just blame the teachers, right? Like, if you're not reading to your child, your kid's behind. If your kid's only at a reading at the grade level, your kid's behind. Like,
So instead of us to find a program or find a means of getting them to perform better, we threaten them with jail. And you're right, there is a pipeline. It's literally called the school to jail pipeline. There's a school out in Louisiana that's literally built next to a school detention. When and I don't what state was this? Because I guarantee if we look up this state, their police
Florida.
department spends Florida, yeah, Florida, the same place that told black kids being a slave is okay. Being a secondhand citizen is all right. The same state that spends 2/3 more on police than they do the school district. You're not about to sit here and have a bunch of asswipes dictate to me that my kid is going to jail when you're setting them up to go to jail. Don't tell me about the plans you got for them. We already see the bills. Like, let's be real here. This is atrocious, especially coming from the Florida School Education Department.
Okay, let me ask you this.
mm-hmm.
Because you brought this up earlier. If the parents were told ahead of time, would you be okay with this?
No, that's not a problem at the school. It's not your job as a school to put the fear of life and death in my child. That's what your job is. Your job is to teach, right? It's my job as the parent to put the fear of God in my child. That's my job.
Same people who complain about the same kids that complain about don't teach my kids about sexual orientation. I hope these people are at the front of the line. Because you're traumatized, you're truly traumatizing kids and then trying to bribe them with candy. When we simply know that these schools are underfunded. Literally, there's a study out that went out today. As classrooms are heating up, ACs are being left on longer and higher, which takes electric power from the grid. So they've opted to take ACs out and put fans in. And we know that every degree that the weather increases inside the classroom lowers their focus by 10%. Like there's this I hate to say this, but this generation of kids, I know they were calling my generation soft as shit, but this generation kid, they are being abused the most. And it is amazing that if they will ever prosper past what was set up for them, you guys have to like we have to, as the harborers of their future, we have to be paying attention to the disadvantages these kids are being put at early and often.
So you do you disagree with scare straight programs?
Absolutely. That is nothing but trauma porn. Like, there's no science out there in the world. Like, literally, how did you get over your fear of being in the dark? Did your parents lock you in a soundproof box in the dark for 6 hours a day? There's a streamer right now who's in the psychiatric ward right now because he did a 24-hour stream in his dark closet, and every time someone donated 25 cents to him, he got flashed with a blinding light, and he's going through psychological evaluation hold right now. So, like, black people, this was part of that respectable politics and this whole, like, we got to stop crime with big strong police force. That shit doesn't work.